Welcome back to Co's Q, and boy, I have a huge treat for y'all today, and also for my family this evening. I'm going to be cooking up one of these, and y'all know what it is. Any of y'all that's watched any kind of cooking channels before know exactly what this is. This is the beloved Tomahawk Ribeye. It is a beautiful cut. This is just a choice from Sam's Club, about 2.5, 3 inches thick. Rough. I think it comes in just under 3 pounds. And it's going to be a real simple rub that we're going to be putting on it. Not really like a rub like you would a pork butt or something like that, but just a dousing of some kosher salt in the beginning, sit for a few hours in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to bring it out and put some of the black garlic fermented along with some fresh ground pepper to help give it a little bit of a seared bark. And we'll be cooking on the slow and zero. I'm going to show you that here in a minute as we get the grill ready, and also get the thing seasoned up for you as well. So join me. Looking forward to it. All right, now we got it unwrapped and the plastic thrown away. The containers these things come in that they're wrapped with plastic in are perfect for just using if you're going to be throwing it back into the refrigerator, you know, with your salt to start to work its way through the meat. And that's what happens when you put any type of salt product on beef. And really anything, but specifically beef. It's on there, and a chemical reaction takes place with the meat, and it starts to work its way as it draws moisture out. It works the flavor into the meat all the way through, if you give it time to do it. In this case, it's going to be a few hours before we're cooking. That's plenty long enough for it to work its way through. I was watching a video here recently, and the guy was explaining that if you go to a restaurant and watch them actually season your steak and then bring it to you, you'd be surprised at how much salt they're going to use. I'm not going to go that heavy because I know it's going to be super flavorful with the way we're cooking it, along with a little bit of smoke flavor from some cherry and some maple wood. So, but we are going to put enough to where it will make an impact. So first we're going to start off with, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but just some Lee & Perkins Worcestershire sauce, however you want to pronounce that, it's fine with me. And you're going to leave one hand where you can do all this, and one hand to do all this. But this Worcestershire is not going to add a huge flavor component, but there will be a little bit in aiding the salt and sticking to initially, not bouncing all over the place. There's a little bit in there. You see it's perfectly Frenched. Just a beautiful cut, and it really is. So much fun to cook. If you haven't done one, they're about, you can catch them sometime on a deal at $8 a pound. They've been hovering recently right around 10. Still a little bit pricey, but it's not bad for a decent cut. If you find one with the right amount of marbling, you know, it's not a prime cut, but it's as close as it's going to get to because you got the fat you need to render for the flavor. All right, a little more. All right, so you see the tumbleweed is still burning. Once that goes down, we're going to close everything off. And there it goes, right as we're on camera. Perfect timing. I didn't whisk it away, I promise. The bottom vents we're going to probably put somewhere about, I don't know, halfway down there at the bottom. And then the top vents here on the lid, we're going to probably about 2/3. That'll give it a nice consistent temperature, probably somewhere between 2 and 250. I don't have a gauge on this. This is just your basic kettle 22-inch model, which is fine. I'm cooking toward a temperature, and it's going to work perfectly. Then we'll get the lid put on there, and then let the grill come up to temp so I can clean the grates. I clean them pretty good, you know, the prior cook, but I want to tighten them up just a little bit because I see there's some spots, a little bit of residue I want to take care of. Plus, it'll give time for the grill to come up to probably that 2 to 250 range that we're looking for. I don't have there's not a lot of coals in there because it doesn't need it. So, because it's only about an hour and 15 minute cook, you know, at that temp, and it'll be ready, and it's going to rest for roughly 10 to 15 minutes. So, we'll get on that now. All right, now the time has come to put this beautiful tomahawk on the grill. It's got the garlic, the very pungent black garlic, and then a nice coating of the fresh ground pepper. Exactly how I like it. You put whatever you want on it, you know, to get it whatever, I guess, flavor profile you're looking for, but that's really hard to beat. You know, kosher salt, this specific garlic profile along with the fresh ground. Give it a try. Like I said, it's going to be anywhere from between an hour, hour and a half cook time. Not going for any specific length of time, going for temperature. And we're about to add the probe now. All right, now that the thing's been on for a few minutes, I'm going to add the flavor profile. This first one, as far as the smoke is concerned, is a whiskey barrel. Very small. It's very, very strong, so you got to go easy with it. And then maple, which is subtle and not overwhelming. Put that over that way. And I'm going to immediately drop a chunk of the cherry over there on the hot spot. Get that covered up real quick so it doesn't flame up. And let it do its thing. All right, we come to the point where we need to check the temperature.
All right.
Using the Thermapen Pro because the other one I was using, there was melting on the close to the wire and it was changing. It was actually reading the air temperature, so I'm just going to go back to old trusty. This thing's worked well ever since we purchased it. All right. That's exactly where I thought it would be, somewhere in the mid 80s to 100 degrees, depending on what part of the steak we're probing. Yep, all under 100, which is great. I'm going to rotate it, and then we'll settle those flames down, get it to about 110 degrees, and then we'll do the sear process, then bring it back off the heat to a temp probably somewhere between 125 and 135. Then let it rest once we get it out of here for roughly about 10-15 minutes. All right, it's time to sear it off. Put a little crust on her. Now you can put the lid on it if you want, but I kind of like to watch it. Temperature throughout is anywhere from between 115 to, in some spots closer to the edges, 130. And that's perfectly fine because anywhere from between a medium rare to a medium is perfectly fine on this cut of meat because it's just so massive. You know, and what we did with the salt at the beginning to help the flavor profile, it's not going to hurt it a bit. It's going to be perfectly pink throughout the meat. No issue at all. I can actually see the beer still bubbling, so there is still some in there, adding to some of the moisture profile. And you notice there's a little bit of flame up, which is just kissing it. Look at that. You can see the fat starting to crisp. I wish you could stand here and smell this with me. It's amazing.
It is amazing, babe.
Peanut gallery. They love me. Contrary to popular belief, the flames actually don't change the internal temp that much. They will crust over the outside, but they don't. Yeah, it heats it up, but it doesn't bring the temperature up like from 130 to 150 just rapidly, just out of nowhere within a few seconds. So you can let that go for a little while. As a matter of fact, I'm going to flip it again. Look at that. Wow. Slow and sear. That's where it's at. I've been wanting one. I don't know why I put it off so long, but watching Rye and a couple other folks on YouTube doing it, this is a no-brainer. Way more room to work with as far as your sear at the end. So I'm going to bring this over here. Let that calm down a little bit. Put the lid on. I don't need any more temp. So I'm going to close down the not completely, enough for it just to breathe. And let that settle. Then I'm gonna bring it off the rest. Alrighty. That is the cut. Look at how wonderful that looks. That is a beautiful cut of meat. It really is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some aluminum foil, cover it up, and let it rest for roughly 10 to 15 minutes. And then what that'll do is give it an opportunity for the moisture and stuff to revitalize inside the meat, and it's gonna be good. All right, so what you do is you place just a Tomahawk steak-sized piece of aluminum foil, just like this. You're not wrapping it because you don't want it to continue to increase in temp too much. Basically, just like that. Because it's piping hot, and you'll notice that. And I don't have the gloves on because I want to feel what I'm doing a little bit more. So that's perfect. Alrighty. Now is the time to see exactly what we've done. Absolutely beautiful cut, beautiful cook. I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that, folks. At least not this household. A lot of the people I follow, I've seen them do some pretty cuts of steak and other meats, but I think what we just performed today might rival some of what theirs look like, and I hope it tastes just half as good as probably theirs does, and that'll be a win. But yeah, let's cut into it. Let's go down the French side first. Do like most do, and there's some gnawing meat there, and then go straight down the middle. Oh, that's perfect. That's so perfect. Look at that. And it just slices right off. That's butter tender. I don't normally do taste tests on my videos, but I'm gonna do it right here. I'm gonna salt up some of those juices. Look at that. That is delicious. Look, it just pulls away. Can you believe it? That is all that is left of that nearly a 3-pound Tomahawk ribeye. It is that good. 3 people, that's about the right amount, especially the type of appetite you're gonna have when you cut into it, and this is the type of product that's produced. Gotta give a big shout out to S&S Grills. They are the ones that produce the slow and sear product that I'm using in this specific video. Excellent, excellent, excellent product. I highly recommend it. Because of what it's capable of doing with the 2-zone, along with adding an element of moisture with the reservoir that you don't normally get with just like your baskets and stuff like that. So I would give them a shout out and give them a look. And it's a little bit pricey up front, you know, right around $100 or so. But as many times as you're going to use it, I promise you, it's well worth the money. And it's an excellent design. So yeah, give them a shout. I'll put a link in the description box for you to go to kind of research and find out for yourself if that's something you want to invest in. But yet, hey, wouldn't you? It pretty much speaks for itself, right? But thanks for joining along with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I also put some more videos of other pit masters and how they do this specific type of cook. There's also a method of hanging in the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco that I will be doing in the future. The next time I do this, really cool way of doing it. Actually drilling holes into the bone. So I look forward to showing you that then. But until then, Ghost Cute out.